Let's go. Welcome, guys, to this community stream with presentation of our game and lore overview, and then follow up Q&A with Chris and myself, Steve. I would say, yeah, you ask questions in the Q&A. That's gonna begin after I finish doing this. Okay, so I would say let's begin. You can see on the stream. Let me scroll down the first page, and I'm not gonna comment this much until the end. I'm just gonna read it through, okay, with you. Let's go. A universe. The empire of humanity is past its peak, but still rose over a large portion of our galaxy with an iron fist. Many old planets, including Earth, are under their domain and are called the inner worlds. There are a large area beyond the reach of the empire called the Outer Rim, with countless uncharted worlds, independent colonies, and criminal hideouts. Now we go to Planet Kerpal. Planet Kerpal is one of these worlds. Over 1,000 years ago, a colonist ship crashed onto the surface, and the passengers found themselves stranded on this wild alien planet deep in the Outer Rim. With no other possibilities, they harnessed the last remaining energy from the rescue ship cells and then sent out an SOS signal, but no one was around to receive it. After years of social and technological isolation, the stranded people developed into a Neolithic state and learned to coexist with the original creatures of Kerpal, the most intelligent ones being the lizard people. But then things took a bizarre turn when parts of the human population suddenly started to undergo a transformation, turning into new beings that appeared part human, part animal. Some suffered a transformation so severe that it left them feral, with no resemblance of the former self. These individuals now roam the wilds and attack everyone who crosses their path. Some of the other people were more lucky and experienced something mesmerizing. They assumed animalistic traits and shapes while still being able to talk and keep the human shapes and behaviors, or the human traits and behaviors, and memories. Many of these Kerpali, as they are called by the people, split up from their groups while others remained. Over the next generations, the survivors evolved into a tribal society with their animalistic companions. Now we come to the Raiders. Who are the Raiders? Centuries later, the SOS signal sent from Kerpal so long ago reached some of the inner worlds, spiking interest in some of the people there. A circle of explorers and independent scientists decided to follow up on this extraordinary find and organized an expedition to Kerpal to study the remains and hoping to find a surviving society. Chartering a ship and hiring a bunch of mercenaries, they set off on their year-long journey to this mysterious planet. But not all of these explorers came along merely out of curiosity. Some have darker motives. Now let's talk a little bit about Maya and Max, our protagonists for wildlife. The natives on Kerpal have adapted fairly well to this wild environment, but still have their daily struggles to survive. One of them is Maya, daughter of the chief from a warrior tribe of Kerpal. Maya is a fierce warrior, skilled archer, adept with a spear and a good hunter. As a caring person, she loves the nature and wants to keep harmony among the tribes, the Kerpali, and the native wildlife. She also underwent a Kerpali transformation. However, she didn't fully transform. Instead, she can now grow wings and fly. No one ever transformed into an avian shape, and no one ever had the ability to shapeshift at will. Many Kerpali and humans envy her unusual abilities, which gave her the inner desire to find out why she is so different. The journey to unravel her mystery is interrupted when strange new humans arrive from the skies. Maya must now discover who these people are and what intentions they have. Maya's gameplay traits will be: bow and spear are her tools of survival. Her unique wings give her the ability to fly. She knows the world and rarely has survival challenges. Sex is freely accessible. She can seduce characters or play along with their advances on her. Let's take a look at Max. Growing up in the slums of a metropolitan world, Max has always been a loner and an outcast. He endured a hard life on the streets and was always longing for a place to belong and something that resembles a family. One day he meets a group of mercenaries called the Wildfire Gang, a group of space raiders for hire. He joins them in hopes of getting off the hellhole he had to call home. It is as if all his dreams come true when he finds himself a member of this wild and diverse group of adventurers. Max doesn't know what to expect when he learns that the Wildfire Gang has been hired as a part of an expedition to the world in an outer rim called Kerpal. He has never left his home city, let alone the planet he was born on, so going on a journey all the way out into the outer rim is a trip of a lifetime. And so he looks out into space from his window on the ship to Kerpal, excited about what wonders will expect him in this mysterious world. Max gameplay traits. He uses firearms to defend himself. A grappling hook helps him to overcome larger heights. As a new arrival, he has a lot of survival challenges and a lot to learn. To get laid, he needs to hit the right spots with his flirty advances. What are the stories and goals of Wildlife? Wildlife starts with the new arrival of the raiders and scientists on Kerpal, disturbing the peace on the planet. Maya wants to go investigate their intentions while Max is excited to explore this new land. Soon Maya and Max meet each other. Their wildly different cultures clash at first, but they find common ground and come closer. Uncover the mystery of Kerpal and find out why Maya is so different from the other Kerpali. Expose the dark intentions of the intruders and defeat the ones behind them. Experience the sexual desires of Maya and Max through various intimate encounters with a diverse cast of characters. Now we can look at the game world. Welcome to the lands of Kerpal, an untouched planet in the outer rim. The game world is about 25 square kilometers or 10 square miles in size. The landscape consists of several different base biomes: jungle, grasslands, desert, and canyon. The game has day and night cycles with different weather types on Kerpal: clear sky, overcast, rainy, thunderstorm, and sandstorm. Kerpal is populated by several camps of natives, raiders, and Kerpali, as well as many lone NPCs with their own stories scattered around in the wilderness. Look at the game mechanics. Combat. Kerpal is not a walk in the park. These are some of the aspects of the combat: ranged combat with bows and guns, melee combat with spear and knives, various enemies like hostile raiders, bloodthirsty cannibals, feral Kerpali, ferocious dinosaur-like predators, and other wildlife. Survival. Survive the elements and the tensions of your own desires. Survival needs have moderate penalties and may include hunger, thirst, sleep, and sexual needs. Crafting. Craft different foods and utility items to aid your adventures. Resources are fitting for survival in the Neolithic world. Example, wood, flintstone, fruits, and so on. Inventory. Collect and find or unlock items from the following categories: weapons, clothing, crafting items, consumables, and quest items. The clothing slots are head, chest, legs, feet, and hands. Now let's look at the flirting and the sex. Spend time with them, do their quests and storylines to get to a sweet climax or many. Meet the cast and to find out their desires and boundaries and explore your own curiosities. They will react to different player actions and crimes. Interact with NPCs in all sorts of ways to see if they are willing to lay with you. Fuck it up and you'll get a strike. Get 3 strikes with somebody and your chances for intimacy with them won't look good. Sex scenes will be interactive and can include foreplay, position changes, interactive actions, sex toys, and afterplay. Now let's talk about the game modes of Wildlife. Wildlife will have 2 game modes. The story mode: play as Maya and Max and explore the story of their encounter and overcome the challenges they face. Progress through the main and side quests and meet the various characters and their relationships. And the sandbox mode, which is a Paraturn exclusive. Watch any of the sex encounters anywhere on Kerpal. Control time, weather, and daylight. Pose and customize characters into cool scenes. Take awesome screenshots or videos and share them with the community. Let's see what are the planned releases coming up here. So we have a Wildlife demo coming to Steam in 2021, which is what we're working on now. The demo will be free to download for all. You will play as Max arriving on Kerpal and will go through quests that introduce some of the game mechanics. Get a feel of how the sex scenes could be like in the final version. Then, once the game is actually done, we will release the Wildlife game to Steam. This is the vanilla version, the official game release worldwide. This version will focus on human intercourse. We want to ensure a safe and secure release to the mainstream. We will separate game content like sex with Karpali characters from the main game release. But don't worry, that will always be part of Wildlife. Now we come to the add-on. The ongoing Patreon development build releases will continue to feature Nier Karpali animations. This add-on will include all the animations and relationships for the Karpali. When the Wildlife game is released, we will launch this free add-on for patrons and everyone interested in the more exceptional sexual encounters of Wildlife. Now we have a little bit of a finishing card here. Learn more on Patreon. We have the address pretty much everywhere. We are at Candy Valley Network developing this game. The platform is for PC. We plan for 20 to 40 hour playtime for the main story plus side content. The age rating will be adults only, and we plan for keyboard and gamepad support. That's it with this presentation. Thank you very much for listening. We are now open for the Q&A. So let's have a look at...
Yeah. Should I start? There was already one.
Yeah, let's begin with you.
Okay, let me change the audio quickly. Wait, I need to unmute you in Discord.
Unmute you.
All right. Now it will be a little bit async again, but I hope this is fine. Otherwise, Discord will be async. Yeah. There was an interesting question of legal specialist. Will the game feature random events in the future where the player gets forced to have sex or stuff like that? How about BDSM, bondage, and stuff in general? So there will be random events in the world, and the player needs to make decisions. There will be always, like, especially with the sex encounters, this won't be the only solution for situations. But we won't have any kind of rape situations in the game where the player will be forced in this kind of fashion. So the sex will be consensual. You can use the sex to your advantage, especially as Maya, to create situations where certain things can happen, of course. For example, a guard, she got captured and the guard is locking her away. And how will Maya escape the cell, right? Key locking or lock picking or flirting with the guard or pretending to be sick. These kind of situations, that if you call it a random encounter, of course, there will be also sex involved or can be involved. It's depending on the decision by the player, but there won't be any kind of rape encounters which is forced on the player. So rape in general. I think this was pretty much where the question goes to. But when we come to BDSM and bondage, yeah, we want to include as much as we can on all kind of cool stuff we all know from the internet, and this is also on our table. We of course need to be careful how we present it, that it's not misunderstood the way we present it, but it's definitely something we take slow steps and approach this BDSM bondage approach. Maybe not right now, but at some point there will be definitely some biting and more.
Yes, very good. Let me have a chat with this question that was asked before we started. Do you plan to add weather effects in the next build? Some rain or thunderstorms would be dope. Yes, they would be dope, but these aren't scheduled for any of the next builds. It's gonna take a little longer. We will work on this after we finish the demo, so you guys will have to be a bit patient on weather effects. Okay, you already replied that. I can also answer quickly we gon' get to explore that ship. Currently, it's not planned to have the ship explorable, at least not in its full size. Maybe we have, if the resources suffice, a small portion of the ship available, but that's not planned for now, right? Actually.
All right. Let me add a few things to the question before. So the sex will be consensual. You can create situations where the sex will be consensual, even it was not meant to be a sexual encounter in the first place. I wanted to add to the previous question.
Mhm.
And also answer the second question to also the cruel steal, will pursuing a relationship with one NPC possibly lock you out of future relation with other NPCs? Yes. So basically, if you fuck, let's say you come to a place, right? And there are a lot of different NPCs, male, female, doesn't matter. And you decide to encounter one NPC and you need to fulfill the requirements, quests or items, whatnot, to go down this route. This can have an impact on other characters witnessing it, or story-wise, the character will tell them. So it will have an impact on what decisions you make in the game, and which character you interact and what kind will be, of course, a decision. Games are in general always decision making. Yes.
Cool. Let me reply to this question here. Will we be able to upgrade weapons and as we progress gain access to more advanced powerful weapons? Probably yes. We don't have the entire progression system fully laid out yet, but character progression through weapon improvements is a plan. Yes.
All right. Should
pick?
I jump on the Germany deleted all adult content
Yes,
on
do
Steam?
that. I was gonna leave with that.
All right. So Germany is actually the origin of a lot of fetishes, out of a lot of kinky stuff, but also very high on youth protection. This is the main reason why Steam deleted all content, adult content for the German area, because the age verification on Steam is not like filling the requirements from the government to protect their youth. So, of course, we will be in the same shoes. In Germany, we most likely, if there won't be any changes, can't sell our game right away on the German Steam store. But there will be like other stores as well, where people who live in Germany who fall under this restriction can, of course, well, I don't want to promote how to use the VPN or whatnot, but yeah, Germany won't be right now our game sellable if it not change until release.
Or maybe to sum it up a bit more, yes, the game will not be sellable on Steam, but that doesn't mean that it will be impossible for German people to
Yeah,
access the
but
game.
this is what we actually can't. I think we can't officially like promote, but everyone
No.
knows
I'm
what
just
we're
saying
talking
it will
about.
not be impossible
Yes, of
because
course. That's
that's the
basically
truth.
what I wanted to say. Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
Um, Should I? There was actually a very interesting question from Peaceful Swiss Guy. Let me post it in the Discord. So this is a question we both can answer because it's affecting us as a person.
Yes.
Should I start? Will you start?
You start.
Yeah, so basically, Steve is from the movie industry originally. I come from the games industry, met us in studies. And I think after we decided to go down this Aero developer route together, we, of course, told our family. I can say being open about sex, being sex positive, didn't hit any walls. So people also in the friends, like friends, and also in the industry, people you knew already or got to know, they are pretty open to the topic as long you communicate it in a positive way. So I have a girlfriend for 15 years. She's fine with it. My parents are fine with it. Actually, everyone is supporting us. So I don't feel any backlash at all. Even we have been working in this kind of field now for 4 years. Actually, for 4 years now. Yes. So we didn't start Wildlife 4 years ago. We prepared everything until Steve finally came up with a good idea, which was Wildlife. Yes.
Yeah. So for me, it's very similar actually. My family is completely supportive. I could say a lot more about this, but maybe in another time. So my mom really likes what I'm doing. My dad initially was a bit skeptical, but then he saw the success of our company and was like, "Hey, this must be cool. You guys are doing great. Thanks for that." Um, Yeah, and all of our friends, they're really fascinated by what we do. No, I haven't received any like negative anti-sex, ooh, you're a pervert kind of reaction from any of my close circle.
Mhm.
Yeah. Maybe let me pick this next question. So, are they still born in human form and then transform, or are they born in animal form? This is a question about the Karpali. I'm gonna tell a little bit about the Karpali here. So basically, how this works is the people on the planet, the original colonists who crashed down the ship and started to find their little tribal society, these people eventually started to transform. It happened between the age of 18 and 40 maybe. Nobody in the old age was ever seen to transform, and nobody, a kid, was seen to transform. This happened in the adolescence, maybe in the early adulthood, let's say. When they transform, they are in pain for a couple of hours, maybe days. The transformation goes rather quick, couple of hours, maybe couple of days, and then it's done. And it's irreversible. Once you're transformed, you are that creature. You're not able to transform back. That's where Maya is quite a specialty, because she didn't fully transform and she has the ability to move around those shapes. But anyway, so now we have a bunch of different Karpali. The tribals associate this transformation with the spirit animal. That's what they started to interpret into this transformation process. And they said, oh, you will, if you transform and you have a strong spirit animal, you will transform into your spirit animal. That's a reasoning they used to explain why we're seeing so many different types of Karpali here. We have some that look a bit like bulls, like wolves, like lions, like rhinos, and so on and so forth. When it comes to being born, humans and humans will always create human childs. Now, if a Karpali and a human, they will be infertile. But if a Karpali has something with another Karpali that is of a similar breed, like say a lion and a tiger, those will be able to have offspring, and it will look pretty similar. And that's why there is also a second and third and so on gen Karpali. But they don't, like, it's not like, oh, a 15th gen Karpali will be like almost indistinguishable from a feral Karpali, right? They will actually still be the same as their parents and grandparents and so on. And of course, because the compatibility for fertility is so limited, this doesn't happen very often, but when it does, there's a chance that they have a healthy offspring that looks like them. So
All
that's
right.
about that.
There's a question: will there be a male starting character to be added in the game in the beginning of the game, and will there be more playable characters you can possess in the game? So the game feature the first release of Wildlife, right? Like the vanilla version, the Gold Master. The Gold Master will feature two heroes. It's either Max or Maya. These will be the main protagonists of the game. Once we created the first game, also the document Steve shown before is referring to the first game. So two protagonists, two heroes. Afterwards, there might be a DLC featuring Karpali as the main character, so it will be a different storyline, a different perspective of how the game went down. Where maybe it will be a prequel or a sequel told in the DLC. But for now, we focus on Max and Maya, and yes.
Cool. Let's pick up the questions a bit more from top, so we don't have to scroll up to get the remainder.
Oh,
So
of course,
I'm gonna pick up this top one that's still unanswered. Are the lizard men the only sentient species from Kerpal? Yes, the lizard men are to Kerpal what the Neanderthals were to Earth, where primates started to walk on two legs, get opposable thumbs, and do stuff that other animals were not able to do. But they became instantly the apex species and remained it. This is what happens in Kerpal too, but in reptile. And the lizard men are like the Neanderthals, or maybe a bit more than that, to the Kerpal. It is like what happens if we had a a clever society, but we didn't have the dinosaur extinction. That's it.
All right. So okay, so let me go for the first one. Up. I remember that you told us once you cannot include non-sexual content because of Patreon. So it's not only because of Patreon. We want to make this game as our first game for the company. We want to be on a lot of stores as possible. So there is just certain content we have to be very, very careful with. And also moral-wise, which is hard to justify. So for now, not only for now, so rape and children, these are like the two things we won't do with wildlife. Yes.
Cool. That's it. The big no-nos.
Yes, these are the big no-nos. It came up a lot of times before as well. I just wanted to point it out especially, so there won't be any miscommunication. There is no rape and no children in the game, and will not be in the game.
Exactly. Let me answer this next one here up top. Will Maya have any limiting factors on how much sex you have, or will she gain a bonus if she doesn't have sex? Now, the last part sounds a bit counterintuitive. We will probably not make that, because that would be going a bit counter the game design. We are an adult game with sex positive content. It would be strange if we give you bonuses for not living that content, not consuming that content. So that's definitely a no. Will she have limiting factors for how much sex you have? We don't know exactly about that yet. That's still to be designed. And I guess that's going to be a lot of balancing. What feels interesting, what feels too intrusive. Maybe the player wants all the freedom he has. And if he manages to find interesting sex encounters in the game, he shouldn't then be limited by some separate system that dictates some other thing, right? Because the sex encounters need to be special and interesting to achieve in themselves. So there probably won't be like secondary limiting factors to how much or how little you can do.
All right.
Maybe let me pick up the next one really quick. Will
Yeah, go for
showroom
it.
be included in the sandbox mode? Yes. The showroom will be included in the sandbox mode, and it will also most likely be improved upon and given more features over time. So we have a really nice something like a studio system for people. Maybe they can move lights and create things like I don't know. We will see about that, but it's definitely gonna stay and probably even more feature rich than it already is. That's it.
All right. May I ask one I posted at the bottom? It should be like the current one.
Yeah.
So yeah, Steve and I studied like back then when we were still young and fresh. Now we are old and old. And yeah, basically we started like doing kinky animations, and then we were like, oh man, let's create games. And it was always Steve's dream to also visualize wildlife, as he was working on like this desert kind of setting for quite some time. And then we started in 2016, and we're like trying a little bit of different things out. Not started with wildlife right away, but we prepared like the Unreal tech. We got like the base ready, and at some point, Steve, yeah, created the first batch of wildlife, so to speak. So the initial vision and also the Patreon. There's, I think, a few things Steve can tell how he came up with the idea. So basically, the company Creating Adults was back in studies, and at some point, Steve had the genius idea, which I'm pretty glad he had it, to create wildlife, and maybe he has some words to tell about this as well. But yeah, we wanted to create nice kinky content very early on.
Hell yeah, man. Maybe I can just say a few sentences for how this can be. Like we had been working on stuff for a while. We wanted to work together, um, and one day I was still in London. I had this insane dream, and in the dream Maya came appeared, and she also had the wings. And I don't remember the entire details of the dream. I have some, but it's not those are not important. Anyway, so I woke up from this dream and I was fascinated. I was like, wow, this is cool stuff. Let me make this in 3D. So I started to model Maya. Then eventually I came to the wings. I wanted to have like cool wing rigs. At the time I was working, I think, on the Jungle Book at MPC, and I was being responsible for creating some bird rigs and dealing with feather and stuff like that. So I had a little bit of interest to do that from a technical point of view. So I created this character with her wings, and found her quite interesting. And then we started to play around, putting her in the engine. I started to prototype a little flight system for that, and it felt kind of cool. We started to get more ideas for what would this be if it was a game, and then the ball basically started rolling from there. And now here's where we are with complete vision and a product in the making.
Yeah, here we are now. Created Patreon in 2017. Maybe some people don't know. This is nice to add here. We started off, he came from MPC London to Berlin. We moved in a flat, both of us. And 2017, and pretty much started with only us two. And by the end of the year, we had our first, so to speak, employee, Power Puncher. And yeah, that's it for the first year. And by the end, 3 people. The last one joined at the end, like I said, just now, I think 2 times. And then 2018, a few more people joined. And 2019 was the first year where we had a real production team sitting in the office. By, I think, 2019, we had like 10 people. Now we are 18 in the new office, which is not our living room. So everything prior to October 2019 was basically our apartment, where I was sleeping on the floor for half a year because we needed space for one more room. It was pretty rock and roll, and it's great memories, and also pretty great where we ended up now.
It's one of those typical mom's garage
Yes,
entrepreneur stories we have here.
with a little bit more kink than my other companies, I guess.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let me reply this question here real quickly. It's a bit more. Well, will this be multiplayer? No, we do not plan for a multiplayer game for wildlife. We may do multiplayer as a game, but that would be an entirely different project setup, right? So because when you make a multiplayer, the entire design and the code structure and everything needs to be set up to be multiplayer from the ground. This hasn't happened. We didn't have that vision, so it's not part of our vision now.
It's also, sorry, I just wanted to say it's also important to realize we already have quite a big vision, dream, scope, so to speak, and it's already pretty hard to create all the features. It's like you have to imagine like a watch, like all the gears need to fit into each other, like the system with quests, the routines, and whatnot. This is what we're working on right now a lot. There's not yet too much to be seen in game, but this will follow soon. So this year will be pretty interesting, especially in terms of gameplay. But multiplayer would be just like taking all this, boom, on top of it. So we want to create wildlife, make a good game, which is at least fun, which is good to have a game which is fun. But yeah, to make a fun game, which we will be able to pull off. Of course, we will need to make our learning. Sometimes we find out like, oh, we have to redo this or whatnot, but it's pretty natural for game development. And then maybe at some point, game 2 or 3, maybe multiplayer. But yeah, let's focus on what we want to do right now.
Yeah. Let me answer this one. This should be quick. Do you have any plans to add tribal marks for face and body for humans? Yes, as part of our planned customization system, we want to give options for that. Tribal marks, war paint, tattoos, piercings, all of that stuff will be available in some form as a customization.
I go for it.
Okay, let me pick the. Let me pick this one here. Do Kerpali have any kind of social structure based on carnivores versus herbivores? No, they don't. Because they don't come from this primal origin of being a predator or a herbivore. They were all humans before, so they still have this sense of a unified culture and a unified being. They don't instantly they don't get these urges to be a carnivore or a herbivore. They just eat what they get, and carnivores get to hunt a bit and eat some meat. The herbivores, maybe they don't eat that much meat, but they used to eat it as they were human, so they probably didn't stop eating that sort of stuff. The only thing that's a bit of a difference here is the feral Kerpali, which happens as a transformation chance. They can become completely feral and completely inhumane. Those will be obviously complete carnivores. They will be aggressive. They will not make differentiation between friend or foe, and they will attack you. That's it for that question.
All right, let me quickly get an overview which are not answered yet. And guys, come on, more questions.
I have a
more.
I have a ton here in Picarto. I haven't been keeping up on popping them over.
Lydia, can you join Steve's Picarto as well and copy paste the questions? Would be great, please.
Cool.
Damio asked if there will be a summary. Yes, we are recording this Q&A and upload it to YouTube. And
well, I hope
we will upload also our written FAQ soon. There will be a lot of updates coming out, as I mentioned.
It's going to be a big time here.
Yeah, we are just a little bit careful not to like put a date on it, as the times right now, even if they wanted to talk about Corona, is like a little bit tough. Yeah, but we're doing good. We're doing good. It will be cool.
Yes. Let me get this question here. By the way, is lore a focus point? Do you have lore guys, girls, and if yes, will there be more to learn in game? Yes, of course. We have lore people working on this stuff. We already had what you're reading here is just the tip of the iceberg. It's just a little bit of a basic summary for you. There will be a lot more to learn for you guys in game, and also through posts and through updates that we give to you. So yeah, lore is a focus point, and we are going to focus a lot on it this year.
All right, there's a question. Let me check if we already have it in our Discord history. This one I will be just answer right now. So there's a question, will you guys be adding more clothing and hairstyles? So of course we will add a lot of more content. Right now we focus on getting the base features done to be feature complete. So all systems are working nicely together. The game loop is done. The game loop is fun. It's polished. And even at this time, we're always producing new visual content. And especially after we hit this feature complete and the game loop is polished and crisp, then it's called then the phase of content production will kick in. Basically taking these features, taking these systems which are already established and polished, and bash content on it. And at the same time, there will be everything pretty much coming in. More characters, more clothing, more everything. Yes.
Exactly. Will Wildlife have mod support in the future, where people can add their own clothes, quests, etc., and so on and so forth? Well, we're definitely not against modding, but we won't go out of our way to make mod tools while we work on the main version of the game. If Wildlife releases is successful and we have a big demand for stuff like that, we will, of course, look into it. But the first version of Wildlife won't get mod support from us. If people manage to mod Unreal games, which of course they can, Unreal games are quite moddable to begin with. That's going to happen anyway. But mod tools from our side are not planned until further away down, at least past the main release.
Yeah, there's also to add, a lot of people always say like, hey, why are you doing not this and why are you doing not that? People kind of quickly forget that we are game developers and we started the industry to like create games. We, especially in this case, Steve envisioned, and we want to create something we came up with, you know, a story, a setting, and yeah, this is pretty much what's happening. And a game like with mod support right away is not what we planned at first as well. So if it comes at some point, it comes. But first of all, we want to create Wildlife together with our patrons, with everyone who's giving feedback, of course. We're listening to everyone. We are reading through every comment, every message, and thinking about the ideas that people have. But yeah, this I just wanted to say at some point in the stream.
Yes, very good. Are you planning to add ground vehicles, motorcycles for raiders, horses for something like the tribals? Question is quite logical. Yeah. No, the current plan does not include that. That would add at least a couple more months to the development time. We want to finish this game in a foreseeable future, and of course I would like to add this sort of stuff, but I also appreciate the fact that we want to like get this game done, at least the first version of it. So if we add vehicles, motorcycles, horses and whatnot, it will be something that happens in an add-on after the main release.
Yes.
Maybe
I think what we have also in the document, what we plan on, not only plan, actually doing right now, it will be pretty cool. The game will be pretty unique in a lot of ways, and I think a lot of people will enjoy it.
Yeah,
us as well, of course.
Of course. Let me pick this question up. This goes a bit to both of us. I'm going to answer mine and give a bit of your stuff. So,
of course,
what was your first game, or is this your first project? For me, personally, this is my first serious game. I come from the movie industry. I've worked on probably around 30 movies. I never made a game before, but Chris is from the games industry, so he has a couple of projects on his shoulders.
So I think the most interesting, my first game actually, especially from our student project back then, it was Hero Defense. It's like it's on Xbox and Steam. It's like a tower defense game where you have like towers are heroes. It's a little bit feels like League of Legends, at least the way you move the towers. So yeah, it's a tower defense game. Was initially planned to be mobile and then ended up on PC and Xbox and not on mobile, for fun fact. And this was done like, oh man, it's long ago, 7 years now, 6, 7, when we released it. Yes, this was the first game.
Cool. I want to answer this one here. This has been posted just now, and I find it quite funny. By the way, guys, can you consult other companies on how to do their flying? You guys are way ahead in terms of feeling of flight. No, this is one of the really unique selling points of our game, is our awesome flight that our coders and animators have been putting together. And this is not something that we would give away like lightly, right?
Why would we? This is the next question. I mean,
it's like I'm giving away my Mining 3 unbreakable pickaxe, man. I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, not just this. I mean, in wildlife, we build most systems in C++, so they are like our systems, our features. We created an Unreal Engine. We're not using a lot of content done by others, and we want to keep it that way, that it's unique and not used by others. And once we give it out, it's not unique anymore, right? So yeah.
Maybe you want to answer this one. Do you have a vision to expand the company to AAA levels over time?
Well, it's not. I mean, we come from a games industry. We started to create a company, right? Creating games. Of course, it's a dream to have something going on as not Activision. I mean, it's pretty hard to say an example to find because the big companies run by suits and money sharks at this point. So let me put it like this: I want to create games with a lot of people who enjoy creating games in a way we can be on par in terms of content and quality with what Activision and EA is doing, but not like they are doing it. Also, a reason why Wildlife will be a premium game and not free to play or freemium. We decided for a reason that it's like buy once, get everything once the game is out, because we want to create kind of old school like selling the game and not milking the people out as much as possible. And also, we are happy to everyone who supports us, of course, but I can honestly say everything we do is 100% genuine, and we want to keep it that way. And I don't see AAA studios behaving genuine. So we want to scale, but not like this. Yes.
Yeah, so in the end, we still want to be the guys that can say we are making a game by gamers for gamers, you know.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, let me answer this one. Will there be any Karpali among the raiders, or are they purely tribal? The Karpali are part of the tribals and the natives, and there may be one or two exceptions of Karpali that, for some God knows what reason, decided to switch sides and join the raiders. That will be a thing that happens in the game as a story line for one of these people, but it will not be the norm. It will be like a super exception if a Karpali joins the raider team. Yeah, I just wanted to put that out there. Let me go for the little boy's room really quick. You can pick up more questions while I'm gone. And I'll be right back, guys.
All right. Once Steve is gone, we can start with really interesting questions. Anyone wants to know something personal about Steve? You have around 5 minutes now to ask. This will be cut out from the recordings, of course. No? No questions? All right. Chance passed, I guess. If I like Steve, yeah, of course. I mean, otherwise I wouldn't have created this company with him, right? My favorite character in game, I think it's Kim and Frank. Frank, I really like because he's like very different from the stereotypical hero guy. He's like an old guy with scars and bruises and a little bit, yeah, old and run down. This is which I find pretty cool. And Kim, she is like the more crazy maniac kind of approach, which is also pretty cool. I for example, enjoy Jinx the most in League of Legends. It's my favorite character, together with Mundo, if you played League of Legends. Maybe you see a reason why, I don't know if there are some parallels, but yes. Just for the Pikachu people, I was just asked what my favorite character is, so you have the context. No, it's actually not the money. We didn't start it out to create a project which we make the most cash with. like I said, if we wanted to make just most money, we would have gone the free-to-play freemium kind of road. Maybe we would have been ending up creating mod supports. So our biggest goal is like create a team or have a team where we can pay their paychecks and everyone have at least a decent living creating cool games. And this with as much cool people as possible. And if we can keep this up, would be great. No, it's not about teasing. I mean, it's a legit question, right? Especially if you have this whole sexual theme, as the stigma is like pretty strong. A lot of people like it's also something as I have more the business development part of the two of us. So I go a lot of conferences, conventions, and there are like a lot of people who are like, oh man, this is you it's money, right? You will milk them. And it's like, no, man, we want to create games with like, because Steve and I, especially Steve, like for real, I met him and it was like 2013, I guess, and he already had like crazy high quality rigs, like this kind of Pixar style. It was just insane, and he completely hooked me with his work he already had. I was like, man, this is fucking great. Super fun. Let's do something. Because I enjoyed it myself. So I was an animator back then, and my first paid job. I took holidays to fly to Steve's place, and took all my holidays for this 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and we ended up getting a notebook with the little paychecks we had, a second one for me to be able to work, and we're just animating with his rigs. And back then we had a Tumblr account, which name I won't state, and
Yes.
creating content, which a lot of like was not. Never mind. We created funny content, and yeah, this is, I don't know. This is how everything started because it was fun, and we wanted to make something which is fun and work in the field and earn money. Of course, right? Without money, you can't pay rent. But yeah, making a living by doing something we enjoy. This was the initial reasoning behind everything. And then with the Patreon growing, we could find people who think alike, and now we're actually creating a decent game, which is tough. Like I said, here and there we have to redo things and not always doing the right decisions right away. So there's a lot of learning involved, also as a team and company, but it's going forward, which is pretty nice and fun and stressy, very stressy. I have a gray hair right at my beard.
Oh no.
Yes.
Damn. Right, let me check out this question. How many ranged weapon variations are you implementing and how essential is it in combat? We're looking, I can't answer how many variations we'll have. That'll depend on our resources, on the balancing, on how much feels right. But how essential it is in combat, it'll be like a part of combat, right? Max uses firearms, which are his combat strength. He can keep things at distance, he can do great damage at distance. And that'll help him. Maya uses the bow, which he needs to hunt. So ranged combat will be quite essential in the combat that we apply here. Yeah, that's it. Did we answer the will you guys be adding more clothing and hairstyles? I think you did.
Yeah,
Chris.
I did.
Okay.
So, what do we have? What is the unexpected challenge making this game? So, what has been the most unexpected challenge making this game? It's like creating an not unexpected, but actually creating an RPG, which is like not the let's just create an RPG. We knew it, but yeah, it's like ton of work. Yes.
Yeah, it's insanely hard. The amount of things that you need to consider and think about, and the systems and how they interact with each other. And then when you make one thing behave like this, then it means that this other thing can't do that. And this is just a little system inside a bigger system inside a bigger system, and all propagates up to the very top of the game. And you need to think about every little thing. It's like when you really need to think about breathing. And It's a bit like this. You need to make a constant thought about every single breath this project takes, or else it'll like not.
Yeah,
work.
it's in the end, it's a complexity, right? And we knew it would be complex, but we never created an open world action RPG before. So, but we knew that there will be hardships coming along. So it's kind of expected, at the same time, kind of unexpected things, which was expected. Yeah, I think you know what I mean.
Yeah. This question has been popped in twice. Will there be ruins or signs of ancient civilizations? Yes, there will be. And the ones we have in mind right now are the rotting and rusting wrecks from the crashed colony ship from 1,000 years ago. It crashed and left parts of its hull over the entire landmass of Kerpal. And these things you can find and explore, and also maybe get some clues about your past in there.
Which have pledged more than the research. Yeah, so for will the game be released via the Patreon for supporters which have pledged more than the retail price alongside the Steam release, in brackets regarding the Nuts of the One done on Steam, or will it only be a product key? Wait. I have to read it again, sorry.
Well, I think one thing that we can say is, yes, if you have supported us on Patreon for more than the retail price, currently
You will get the game, yes.
yeah,
yes.
you get the game for free. We will give you that.
Well, yes. So basically, if we have like several stores to choose from, for example, we are on Steam, we are on Epic Games. We won't be on Epic Games. There's no plans to be on the Epic Store, but just as an example, right? Then I think we can see what platform actually suits best. And the best case, we have our own platform, but yeah, this is again also a huge chunk of things involved, which we don't focus on right now. Yes.
Let me maybe pick these next two in one go. Is Maya's appearance fixed, or will we be able to change it? Now, there will be in-game customization. How far it goes, we don't know yet, but you will be able to customize your player characters a little bit. Changing clothes, war paints, maybe doing a little bit of what we have in our customizer right now. So you can actually have a little bit of a custom experience with your characters. Then let me just pick up the next one real quick. How far along is Max Hook in development? We haven't even started with that. That is still part of plan for Max's gameplay. When exactly we have scheduled, I don't think we know. There's still a lot more basic stuff that we need to cover.
Yeah, and also we mentioned a few times there will be cool stuff coming up this year, but please understand that we just don't throw out any fixed dates. It's just there will be stuff coming soon, but yeah, you will know
Yeah.
when what will be coming out as soon we can say it for sure.
Maybe I can answer this next one right away too. Do you have any plans for having some of the running animations for the Karpali to transition to running on all fours? We don't know. We may try that. If it looks kind of cool, we might keep it. Definitely the feral Karpali will be having all four run animation. If the human Karpali do that, we will see. Maybe the ones that fit that sort of stuff. Maybe like the cheetah girl starts to run really fast and then she runs on all fours. I don't know. We will see about that. It's something we have tried and it didn't look too bad, so we'll see.
So where are we question-wise right now?
The next one is if you guys could elaborate on the separation between human and Karpali sexual content, both in how it will be done and in terms of the factors that are leading to do so. I think this is a perfect question for you, Chris.
Yeah, so again, let me read it through again that I don't misunderstand anything. So can you mark it just now or just send it to me? Just for you guys to know, we have a huge list of questions. There's also, like I said, Picato running and...
I popped it in our private chat.
Yeah. leading to you to do so. Well, I just can. I'm actually not sure if I understand this question in the right way.
So from what
Is
I
it
understand,
meant to be like the what we shown in the document, like the separation of
yeah, I think
the add-on and the director's cut?
I think he wants a bit more elaboration on that. Why we did go with separating Karpali and human content.
Okay, yeah, it's pretty easy. So the kinkier we go, right, the harder will be to hit the mainstream. Mainstream is also a word which you please don't misunderstand. Like I said before, we want to have our first game a success, that we can create even more bigger and more diverse and crazier games. And what we want to do is we want to make sure everyone gets what they want. So we came up with, can you go to the slide again, please, Steve?
Yes.
Because I'm streaming your stream with document open. So there will be the wildlife game, the vanilla version, which will be like more mainstream approach. So it won't, what differentiates it to like the Steve's Director's Cut is like, it will be less focused on sexual Karpali encounters. And the Steve's Director's Cut will be like pull right on what this means. So we can sell the game also in countries where Fiori is forbidden completely. I think most people are aware that especially Fiori/bestiality is a huge nay-nay in a lot of countries. Even sex games in general are also a huge nay-nay in a lot of countries. For example, China, one of the biggest markets out there, there's like no way we can sell our game there. Of course, not speaking about the furry content there. So we want to make sure we can create more games in the future, and also giving everyone on Patreon what they want. This is pretty much the reasoning how we do it, because Patreon is giving us the possibilities to create all this, and this is still a focus. As you notice, we were still creating Karpali characters and animations, so it's not cut off, not at all. But with the I thought I tapped. I was like, what the fuck? But for the mainstream release, the vanilla version, we will have a more soft. It's not soft. It's still pretty hardcore and kinky. But yeah, more mainstream approach. I don't like the word mainstream. It's like the word normal. It's like what is normal? What is mainstream? Yes. But I think you guys understand what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah, let's hope they do. Let me pick up these next questions. They should be easy and quick. Will there be hidden caves outside the village with content? Yes, the demo might have already a hidden cave, and we plan for more hidden caves in the final game. Will you add new things for the Karpali, such as clothes, hair, and more? Yes, over the course of time, we will always be adding content to the humans and Karpali alike. So it's just a question of time and resources. Then will it update automatically, or do I have to physically download the update from Patreon? How will I add the update? I think you're talking about the add-on. We will look into a patching technology for games, but that's not something I can say right now with any certainty. So that's probably a question for later, how our patching system will work. But right now we don't have any of that stuff in place. So whenever we make a new update, you have to physically download the whole updated game again. Let me just take this one as well. Customizable genitals for the sex animations. The problem with that is that it will mess with the animations. The animations are prepared with a lot of care and attention to detail for a very fixed design in terms of genital interaction, and changing the dimensions of those would completely mess up the animations and instantly cause clipping and very low quality feel to all of that. So right now we are sacrificing that sort of flexibility for our higher quality in animations. This is something that we may figure out in the future, but for now, that's how it is.
All right, where are we question-wise?
The next question would be, will I only be able to play as a specific character? Maybe I don't want to play as one of them.
I already answered. So I think before, like the game will be about, like in a story, will be about Maya and Max.
Yeah, so you basically play both of them. Currently, the plan is to have the game story split into acts, and each act will be played by one of the two characters. Like Maya has her act 1, then Max gets his act 1, or maybe it's 8 acts and Maya gets act 1, Max gets act 2, and so forth. And it will be, basically we plan to do it like that, a little bit of GTA 5 level of how the protagonists complete the quests until the whole story reaches a point where you need to switch to another NPC, to another player character to move on with the story, so that we can advance basically the story like that. We're making it ourselves a little bit easier here than how GTA is doing it by splitting it into fixed acts. And I think if nothing revolutionary happens with that, we will keep going with that strategy.
See.
The next question would be, will it be possible to change the language at some point? You can probably answer that too.
Yeah, so it will be, so we focus on English, of course, as most of the world population speaks English. So this will be our main focus. Also for voiceovers, there was a question about voiceovers before. Of course, we will have voiceovers, at least for the main storyline, Max Maya. They will have voiceovers, and maybe we will add Japanese as well. Maybe we will, like I said, maybe, right? So maybe we add Japanese voice actors as well, but all this are still, we focus on English, we get the English voiceovers done, we get the English localization done, and we go from there. And if we can, we will translate and localize the game in every possible language on this earth, right? But it's a question of resources, and the focus will be English.
Yeah.
So maybe.
Well, this question had a checkbox, but I don't think we answered it. I do have a question versus picking from preset wings. Will we ever be able to color them ourselves? Like completely paint them yourselves? Probably not, unless you wanna like try to mod in your custom wing texture. That should be doable even right now. And then we see how far we take the customization for wings. But right now we don't have any design for custom player paint.
Yes.
Maybe I can take the next question, which is quite lore related as well. How is it that the Karpali haven't built more modern society like electricity or more normal buildings? The landscape and the nature of Karpal is quite hostile, and it's very hard to, really evolve from there. You need specific materials to create electricity that maybe are just not available on the surface of Karpal. So they never managed to work specific metals in a way that would allow them to get there. Also, this was a colonist ship that maybe had lost its engineers or something like that, so the people didn't have all the knowledge and all the resources to instantly build a society from scratch after they landed. They were completely isolated technologically and socially, and therefore remained pretty tribal. It's basically as if you take a plane, an airplane of passengers, crash it into an island, and then have the people live on that island for several generations. They probably won't come up with electricity from being on that island, where they also have to care about predators hunting them, how they get the next food, and save themselves from the weather. So the planet's surface is harsh enough that it prevented proper proper development. It's not like a European summertime where everything is easy.
Yeah, the next two questions I would take. It's no, this will be Falcon weather system. I think you answered it already, or
I
no?
can answer. Will Fog be part of the weather system? Yes, it will be.
Oh, all right. So, is Alyssa going to be voiced by a real life counterpart? First of all, shout out to the Dead Chicks. I already saw this mysterious Marcus already in the chat. So, hey everyone. And yeah, Alyssa will be voiceovering herself, not in the demo because this is again, something on top. But for after the demo, she will be voiceovering herself in the game. So all quests she will be related will be voiceovered by her. There's also there could be Leia having appearance as well in the game. So the Dead Chicks will be complete. And yeah, if there's like a real life counterpart, we try to that the real life counterpart is doing the voiceovers as well. If there's some German dialect, it's fine. If there's some Russian dialect, it's fine. I think it's also giving a good taste, good edge,
It
good
adds to the
tone to the game.
diversity.
Yeah, exactly. This was what I was looking for. Yeah. So this for that. This next question is, how is the funding going? Is it enough right now, or do you have invest out of your own pockets even now? So we of course did the first 2 years, especially when Patreon was like, we started with zero, right? In 2017, we already started like preparing the company in 2016. So we invested a lot of time and also money. So we were like as broke in 2017 when we started the Patreon. We like when we started 2016, and we still try to keep away all investments as long as we can, because in 2016 we had a lot of talks with investors, so there were like possibilities to go with investors, but the main issue, especially with sexual content, is everyone has an opinion about sexual content. And if you have an investor, the investor is pretty much dictating you what kind of content he likes. And at this moment is not a situation anymore where we can create what we enjoy most. Imagine there's like Pornhub being an investor of us, and then they say we want this porn star and no Furies anymore. It needs to be New York City and not Kerpal, and they control us by wielding the money. And this is something we kept away. We managed to keep away from for now with thanks to our patrons, which is I think we told it many times. We are super thankful to everyone supporting us and giving us a chance to create a game together with you guys, which is also kind of investment, but a more mutual and more mutual one than like some rich guy wielding a few millions in your direction and telling you what to do and what not to do. So we are fine with what we have right now. Of course, money will increase possibilities. There are like positions we could would be nice to have would be nice to be able to hire, which we can't, as we spend all Patreon income on our employees. It's 18 right now. We pay our taxes, which is like in Germany not little. So would be great, but we are fine as we are right now and can achieve what we want.
So yeah, the funding works for our current plans. Obviously, more money would mean either get the game faster or get the game with more stuff, but that's always the possibility.
Yeah. So maybe I communicated here. With the money we have, the production is going, but would be great to have more options and more resources to spend on the production and the team and scale up everything. So There are a few people we already have an eye on to hire, and we're waiting for the moment we will be able to hire them. So this is the current situation, and yeah, I'm pretty positive that we can hire a few awesome more people soon.
Let me tell you that I want to hire more animators, man. We need that.
Yeah, not only animators. It's the list is endless. There are actually 10 positions. We would be great. More designers, more animators, more everything.
More everything. That's it. Let me pick this next one up. Are you adding more Karpali? I think this was asked in some other forum later as well. Well, yes. We don't have exactly a plan on who we add when. And this happens more or less spontaneously over the course of the development. But the ones we already have are not a finished list. And obviously after the game releases and we continue with the add-ons, more content will be added as well in the form of new characters. So the long run answer is yes.
All right, I have to go for a leak. I will be right back.
Cool. I will see what we can reply here. Do you enjoy your work, or is it more work than fun? Well, I can reply from my perspective, and then Chris can, when he's back, tell his. It's both. When I get to do animations and a little bit of lore planning and stuff like that, that's really fun. I also like meetings with our designers, because that's when I really learn about the complexity of all of this that I'm asking from our team. Sometimes it also just feels like work, but those are very, very rare occasions where I'm actually close to being burnt out. Normally it's really fun, and I like waking up every day and coming here to, do this game. Maybe Chris can answer this later while he comes back. Will there be mini games and endless repeatable things in the finished game? Maybe. I wouldn't see why not. Maybe there won't be a lot of cool things for the main release, but it's definitely something that we can improve and add on in further add-on releases.
I'm back.
Welcome back. So maybe you want to answer your answer to the question of work and fun.
The question was if it's fun to work.
Your work, or is it more work than fun?
Yeah, it's both, pretty much. So I think it would be great to how do I say it? It's taking a lot of time to create a game, and especially, like I said, we started, it was the two of us, and of course we can't create an open world action RPG with only 2 people. And finally we got more and more employees, which are doing a really good job. And like getting to a point that we can start the add-on, finishing up the game. The time until it can be exhausting, but it's still fun. But it's just massive. This whole thing, yes. But yeah, because we are pretty positive on the next steps, which we will also announce very soon. Yeah, it's fun, but stressy and fun.
Yeah.
Sometimes more fun than stressy, but also sometimes more stressy than fun. That's a lot to do. Especially the more people we have in the team, there's like more communications. And then there's Corona. Suddenly, no one can work in office. There's home office. The communication takes a huge hit by working from home. Even we are doing good with Discord. We have everyone in Discord, but especially last 8 months were like a pain in the fucking ass. Not because of the project itself. The situation was shit. Yes.
Yeah.
It was Corona and everything. So end of 2019 was really great. It's still great, but yeah, it's I think everyone knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, let's hope that this year is gonna beat Corona and have us back on track worldwide.
Yes.
Have you guys estimated a launch date? Do you plan to give later expansions to the game? Well, most of this. Do you want to reply to that?
Yeah, because I have a pretty straight answer for this. This
go.
will be announced also soon. Yes, and all information coming with this. It won't be an endless project. There will be a release date. It's not 10 years from now, not at all, not even 5 years. And yeah, will be announced soon.
Yeah, but we do plan for later expansions to the game, as you can
Yes.
take away from this presentation.
Yes.
I can answer the next one really quickly. Flaming arrows? Question mark. Maybe? Question mark. We will see. Will there be alpha and beta tests? Yes, there will be alpha and beta tests once we reach alpha and beta states. Who exactly gets to be alpha and beta tester will be yeah, that'll be decided later, but definitely if you wanna be one alpha or beta tester, it will be good for you to be a patron. Let's see, what's the next question? Will Max be able to acquire any special abilities or special weapons of Kerpali? Maybe. I think when it comes to abilities, that's part of the player ability and progression system, which is still deep in the design phase. So I can't say too much about that, but we are indeed thinking about special abilities and all sorts of stuff to learn and like advance on with your character on Kerpal. Chris, maybe you can take the next one. Will there be collector's editions or different purchase levels?
Of course, we want collector's editions with figurines and whatnot. I mean, who doesn't, right? Especially diehard gamers, which I guess we all are. We are looking into it right now and thinking of a way how we actually can do it, because it's not like you want a collector's edition and suddenly it appears. There's again a lot of organization, logistics, and also spendings involved. Hopefully we will have one. I really want to have one. Steve really wants to have one. I think everyone in the team wants to have one. And if everyone wants one, we try our best that we all can get one, including our patrons.
Yeah.
How we will do it with availability and stuff, this is all we don't know yet. But yeah, let's see.
What kind of quests can we expect? Will there be random encounters or world bosses, unique monsters? Well, we do plan for random encounters. The lands of Kerpal will be scattered with a lot of little events and NPCs that have little problems and own stories that you can follow up on. There will be... I can maybe tell you a little bit about the quest system in 1 or 2 sentences. So the quest system will be split up into 3 different types of quests. That is the events. That is like little things that you encounter randomly in the world that happen to you, and you can, do some gameplay with those. Then there will be side quests, which is basically NPCs in your town, NPCs in the wilds with problems that you can help solve. You may encounter them again. Then maybe it's not just one side quest, but a little side quest chain with an NPC. Maybe it even leads to a romance or something like that. And then the third type is the main quests. So these are the quests that make the anchor points for the story, and each quest advances you in the main story. So those are the 3 types of quests. And world bosses and unique monsters, yeah, probably some of that too. Yeah. I think that's cool stuff. We already answered the will you add more Kerpali, so I will.
So I would suggest we answer like each of us like 2 more questions. So while I'm talking, bash out more questions. We will pick 2 each, and then Steve will show some more loot things on Picato, which we can't show on Twitch, of course, unfortunately. But I heard there are like a few new cool streaming platforms in the making. Yeah. So, Steve, what do you think about it?
Yeah, I would like to continue ask more answer more questions as we start to show the stuff. I think people have been asking a lot of questions. Maybe if we're quick, we can get to the bottom of this list before a lot of new questions are asked. But let's see. So, do you guys plan to port this game to UE5? How hard would it be if you decide to do it? Well, apparently porting to UE5 will be a little bit harder than port to a new engine version, which isn't that hard. It takes like a week. We want to port to UE5 because UE5 has some awesome features that we want to make use of. When exactly that'll happen, it entirely depends on when UE5 comes out, when we get access to it, how stable it is, when we decide. Basically, we decide to move to that when it's stable enough for us to do so. So that's all I can say about that.
Okay, where are we?
I think we are. Will there be any activities besides hunting? Something like fishing, cooking, races, etc.
Should I take it? Will you take it? I mean, it's like I would just take over.
Try that.
I mean, we're working on a demo, and this is just a demo. It's just a piece of what you guys can expect, and there will be like a lot more to do than what you see in a demo. So, yep, there will be like all kinds of fun things to do in wildlife.
Yeah. The next question, basically, are you planning to implement X-ray view during sex as seen in some hentai movies? Maybe. I think I had in one of my development notes a little note to actually look into a system like this. If this is something that you can trigger in your story-based sex scenes, or if it's just something that will be able to do in the sandbox, we don't know yet. But we will look into it, and then in the future I can tell you a bit more about that.
Yeah. The next question, does the sex interact with the story? Like, can you seduce a guard on picking logs, for example? I pretty much gave exactly this example on how the sex will be implemented in a story and the choices you encounter. So yes, there are different ways to solve a problem. Can be seducing a guard instead of picking the key or play sick. So yeah, I mean, we are a sexy game, so we have sexy solutions for not so sexy problems.
That's really good. Well put.
Yes.
Supporting after the release of the game for future updates? Yes, guys. After we release the game, we will continue to work on the game, and supporting us will allow us to make more awesome and bigger updates. So if you want to support us to see more after the game releases, help us out, and we will continue to make content for you. Boom.
So for the relationship system, it's like the people, the NPCs, as we already, I think, answered to a certain extent before, they react to who you interact in what kind of way. This means hurting someone, for example, or stealing something, or getting sexy with someone. So there is like a relation based on the routine, this for sure. And everything further we have to see, because this again is, complexity adding above, which is adding to all kind of like complexity. And yes, I hope this was like it is. Steve.
Yeah, will you guys make a lore book or comics? We don't have a plan for that now, but we're open to it, right? If the lore is well received and if we have cool visuals, and making comics is something that offers, we will do it. Definitely.
Yes.
Will items and clothes have any effects, or will they be purely cosmetical? I think right now the design is that clothing is cosmetical. Maybe it has a base armor value, and you can spend crafting materials on it to improve it, to increase its armor value. So if you really like a tiny bikini, but it only has an armor value of like 10, but you want to wear it, but you don't want to be disadvantaged, you probably can spend crafting materials on it to up its armor value, so you don't get yourself falling behind because you want to wear sexy stuff. So that's probably going to be a thing.
Well, for the next one regarding the Patreons, was this actually a question or was it from you, Olivia?
How many patrons do you have, and how many people are here right now?
So we have like 9,000 Patreons right now, a little bit less. And currently there are a little bit less than 200 people viewing. The majority of our Patreons are US based, and we are streaming right now in prime time for EU/Berlin. So I think, we need to see if we make the next Q&A for the prime time for US, but we will get very sleepy. Yes.
Yeah.
If this was the question referring to, yes.
I think it was. When do you plan to make merch available for purchase, like t-shirts, posters, etc.? Do you want to take that too?
Well, I think for the release, it would be great to have some kind of merch. Again, with the merch, it's there are like platforms where also streamers can have their logo printed on a shirt and people can buy it. This is something we are looking at. Producing and sending them out ourselves is, again,
It's a
you have
logistical
to,
challenge.
it's pretty much setting up a new company within a company to just deal with this.
Yeah.
So there are solutions, as I pointed out just before, where we are currently look at, yes. Because a lot of people are asking lately if there are t-shirts, and maybe you saw Steve's hoodie and mine, Candy Valley Network. So there is, the first batch prototype, so to speak.
Yeah. Any chance Lamia, a snake lady with no legs, will get added? Highly unlikely, at least for the foreseeable future. I don't think we will do that. Maybe in one of the add-ons later on. Again, I'm always open to any of this, but the current scope does not include one of these characters, no.
No, we don't plan on going early access. We plan on going gold right away. We are not big fans of early access. The demo will be on Steam as well. And at some point, the game will be finished. Not like Cyberpunk, what we don't want to talk about, but playable and enjoyable. And this will be our Gold Master, which comes to Steam.
Yeah. Chris, do we want to give hints on future characters, or do we say don't let yourselves get spoiled?
I mean, there are plans, but I honestly don't want to get this ahead right now, especially for the Raiders. There are some bad guys in the making, and
we have
bad
some
guys in terms of villains. So yeah, let's have this a mystery.
Yes. Exactly, I would say so too. Don't let yourselves get spoiled, guys. Embrace the surprise. Any chance for VR support? The game already supports some form of VR, so if you have an HMD connected, you can press Alt 0 to switch to your HMD output in terms of video. What we don't support right now is controllers and navigation with those controllers. So this is purely for visual output onto your headset. We don't currently plan to make VR controller support because the entire game control system and UI system has been designed to work on a screen. Working and processing VR support into all of this is a task that's probably going to take a couple of weeks, if not months. And again, we want to release the game months earlier rather than months later. So this is stuff that we will be taking care of after the main release. Any further
Yes.
support for the VR, at least.
Will we ever get more beta trans content characters? So as pointed out before, once we hit feature complete, the game loop is done. We will be in content phase, and content phase means we create more content. And yeah, we try to make everyone happy with the content we create. Let me put it like this. So it's definitely not a no, but how much and what exactly when we can't say yet.
Let me reply to this question here from our friend from Argentina. I live in Argentina. I've been a patron for like 2 years continuously, but I don't know if you are aware of the situation here. You may have I may have to stop pledging for a sporadic months. That will affect my access to the game. Yes, mate, we're aware of the situation there. It's quite bad. Sadly, stopping your pledge will affect your access to the new releases, but if you have downloaded like the latest version, that is for you to play forever, even after you out pledge without internet, no DRM. You can do whatever you want with it, except obviously to re-upload it and share it outside. But yeah, not being a patron does not stop you from playing the versions you have. It only like blocks you out of accessing new updates for the time that you aren't a patron. Yeah, I just wanted to.
And yeah, and also again to add, once you reach the retail price and pledges, you of course will get the game, which you most likely will have if you're a supporter for 2 years. But yeah, this is how it will be.
Yes, actually, we managed to go through all questions, I think. Any more questions, guys? Otherwise, I will do some freeform talk and show some game footage now. Burp, burp, burp. I can't see any more questions. Scrolling up a bit.
So yeah, I would suggest that Steve is taking over the stream now on Picato, and whoever is interested to see what he's doing there, let me post the link in the chat. Yeah, check him out. It will be a lot more kinky than my face on Steve's stream, and with the document in the background. And yeah, I will say thanks to everyone that you guys participated in this Q&A. There was a lot of good questions, and we hope we could answer, yeah, to your liking. And I wish you a very nice weekend and a lot of fun with Steve's Not Safe for Work stream, which is taking over now.
Cool. Thanks, Chris. And see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.